What if Elliot Alderson never discovered the truth? What if the walls he built around his mind never cracked, and the voice whispering inside was never questioned? In this world, Elliot still roams the city as a ghost in a system he can't escape. He types, he hacks, he hides, not just from the world, but from himself. The pain, the past, the buried memories, they remain locked away, behind firewalls far stronger than any encryption. He hears Mr. Robot, but never wonders who he is. The lines blur, the delusion deepens. This is not the story of a man waking up. This is the story of a man falling deeper into sleep. Mr. Robot wasn't a mystery in this world. He was a leader, a mentor, a revolutionary. Elliot never asked where he came from. He never challenged him, never doubted. Their bond was complete, or at least that's what Elliot believed. Commands came. Actions followed. It wasn't control, it was compliance. And in the absence of conflict, there was clarity. Terrifying clarity. Because when you silence the voice of doubt, you also silence the voice of truth. Sometimes, Elliot would catch a glimpse. In the corner of a monitor, in the reflection of a darkened window, something didn't fit. A flicker of another self. But those moments never lasted. He looked away. He always did. The mirror offered answers, but he had long since stopped asking questions. The delusion was more comforting than the truth. Safer, cleaner. And Mr. Robot made sure it stayed that way. Darlene stood across from him, eyes filled with something he couldn't quite name. Recognition, anger, pain, he didn't know. To Elliot, she was just another Fsociety comrade. He couldn't see the history in her eyes, the years erased. She tried to reach him, tried to remind him of something deeper, but without the memory, there was no meaning. They were rebels on the same path, but strangers walking alone. Angela was the last thread tethering Elliot to the real world. She spoke in soft pleas, reminding him of a life before Fsociety, before the masks. But Elliot had no space for that version of himself anymore. Her voice became background noise, her presence a distant echo. In this world, she didn't break through. She faded, quietly, completely, as Elliot drifted further into the illusion. With no resistance inside him, Fsociety's revolution grew unchallenged. Elliot's mind was no longer split. It was streamlined, efficient, dangerous. Plans formed and executed without hesitation, fearless, relentless. Each hack was cleaner, each breach bolder. No internal sabotage, no emotional backlash, just precision, speed, and chaos. The machine was moving, and no one could stop it, least of all Elliot himself. They called him a genius, a visionary, the architect of a new age. But the man they praised wasn't really there. Elliot had become a symbol, a silent face in a digital storm. Mr. Robot pulled the strings, whispered the words, shaped the future. And Elliot, blind to it all, simply walked forward. History remembered him, but he had already forgotten himself. The world watched in awe and terror as E-Corp collapsed. Screens flickered, markets burned, a system, decades in the making, unraveled in minutes. People cheered, others panicked, but Elliot felt nothing, no triumph, no fear. Just the hum of machines and the silence of a mind no longer questioning. The revolution was complete, and yet it felt incomplete. Tyrrell Wellick wasn't fooled. He saw the difference in Elliot's posture, his pauses, his eyes. Something was missing, or worse, something else had taken over. He played along for a time, let the plan unfold. But doubt festered like a virus. Behind every glance, Tyrell searched for the man he once admired. And the more he searched, the more certain he became that Elliot was no longer in control. Mr. Robot's influence grew bolder, physical, violent. Where once he whispered, now he shoved, guided by urgency, by fear, by his own unraveling code. Elliot never fought back. He took the hits, absorbed the pain, dismissed it as stress, pressure, paranoia. But the signs were there, clear and loud. He just refused to read them. In another timeline, this graveyard held answers. A confrontation, a revelation, but not here. In this version of events, the grave remains untouched, the truth buried. Mr. Robot stands nearby, quiet and unchallenged. Elliot never asks why they're there. He never sees the name etched in stone. The past stays silent, and so does he. There were moments when his world glitched, sudden fragments, echoes of something else, someone else. But Elliot had become a master of suppression. He dismissed the anomalies, rebooted his thinking, reset the feeling. What he didn't realize is that each glitch was a warning, a firewall breach, and eventually, even the strongest systems collapse. Mr. Robot no longer needed to pretend. His control was complete. Elliot, once a thinker, a fighter, had become a puppet, silent and obedient. There were no more arguments, no more questions, just execution. And somewhere, deep beneath the code, the real Elliot screamed, unheard, unseen, forgotten. People filled the streets, screens lit up with slogans, banners, code. Society was everywhere, and Elliot was nowhere. He watched from the sidelines, a ghost in his own legacy, applauded, revered. Elliot walked the city alone, hoodie up, head down. The chaos behind him, the silence within him. Mr. Robot followed, not in footsteps, but in presence, a shadow stitched to his soul. The world had changed, the system had fallen, and yet Elliot felt nothing. Because when you give away your mind, you lose your place in it. This isn't the story of a man saving the world. It's the story of a man who never saved himself. The fire burned, the system crashed, but Elliot, he became a myth, a ghost, a glitch in history. In this version of the world, Mr. Robot won, and Elliot Alderson was never truly here. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it buries you.